And we're rolling. I'm about to start talking once again about fragrance potentiators. Yeah, I know I'm right next door to rush hour traffic. In the first iteration of this channel, it was, I believe, the third or fourth, I think the fourth video I made, which y'all showed no interest in, perhaps because y'all don't really want to admit that you're going around constantly damaging the lungs of young people and people like me who are more reactive with your stupid potentiators and your fragrances. I mean, everything they've improved. They've improved some things like the fabric softener. Some of that shit used to be so horrible. But let me begin again and try to educate you on your sociopathy, about your absolute lack of regard for other people. Yeah, some smoke. You know, I'm pretty sure I started smoking when I first went to California to, began smoking regularly because of the constant post-nasal drip that I get from being around people wearing fragrance potentiators. Please bear in mind, it's not always the fragrance. It's rarely the fragrance. As a matter of fact, when I spoke to the American Lung Association about 15 years ago, they actually said that fragrance potentiators were the #1 cause of lung disease, not diesel particulates, which is what the media wants you to think. #1 cause of asthma is fragrance potentiators. These potentiators are much like the chemical potentiators used in pesticide. They're used they're added to molecules, to compounds, to make them disperse, penetrate, and persist. The reason I'm bringing this up today is because it happened to me. I've got to stop being fucking polite. I really have. I don't care. I really got to stop being polite because I really can't. Please, the last time I saw no reason to reject the donation. Somebody gave me a dozen and a half cookies, and I ended up losing a set of clothes and got really fatigued just trying to clean up from that stinking toxic vegetable oil mess. The cookies were delicious, but unfortunately they were made with an oil of vegetable oil. Now, if you had made it with hog lard, or butter, that would have been just fine, and your cost, margin would not have been affected much, to be honest. I mean, they just got to have y'all in the habit of using those stupid fucking vegetable oils. I'm not going to be polite about this shit because I just went through about an hour-long period here. There's this nice little Latina lady who comes out and she uses a cane for support, and she gets out of her vehicle, comes over, and brings me, I think she calls it a raspa. I'm going to pick it up here and show it to you now. Here you go. See it there? It's like a snow cone it's like a granita. There's all kinds of names for it. It's shaved ice, granita. With this case it had lemon flavor on it. Actually, the last time that she gave me one that had lemon flavor on it, I didn't even know that there was lemon flavor in there because actually I thought it was just because the first little bite that I took was just so infused with perfume. And see, let me explain something here before I get in too long here. I'm already at almost 5 minutes. I can't tell by the strength of the odor as to how the fragrance potentiator in that odor is going to affect me. The last time that I can really remember having really bad chemical pneumonia was from a pretty rare, but apparently very expensive. It's very subtle, and technically it would be called a cologne, not a perfume worn by a woman. And I ran into it in a supermarket, and I didn't wash my nose immediately and so on, and I spent a month having trouble breathing, having chemical pneumonia. Oh God, this is one of the reasons I don't know if I'll ever go back to living indoors again, is because I'll be in there trapped with people who, I'm gonna tell you what, you modern humans have devolved to where your sensitivity or your ability to handle toxins is just phenomenal. I can't believe that most of you, based on the toxic shit that y'all consume every fucking day, everything from the colognes and perfumes on your bodies and crap like that, to those nasty vegetable oils that you eat all day long. Well, I know they're certainly responsible for your obesity. No freaking doubt about that. And your other gastric problems and stuff like that. It's maybe why your stools are always loose or blowing out. The other day there was a guy in 7-Eleven, smelled like he died in that room, you know? Here we go again. Fuck it. And next to me, I can hear it sounds like a gangster car. Like they actually mount the driver on a piece of like old rusted tin roof just to come up with that metallic sound. You know, to you people who just live your lives drenched in that shit, and you're usually what I call a mouth breather anyway. You're not used to breathing through your nose. You're used to having your mouth all open all the time because you're talking all the time. See, I don't do that. I'm a Jew. I'm a super smeller. I have a really great sense of smell. Trust me, I can smell a lot of you people, especially here lately. And there are times when the humidity is getting up to around 65%. Oh gosh, it really brings it home. But even in dry weather, I can smell you when you open your car window, stuff like that. I can smell all them colognes and perfumes and crap coming out your vehicle. I can smell you the minute you get out of your vehicle and stuff like that. And I'm instantly just seized up with fear about how close can I allow this person to get to me. The lovely lady, I showed you the raspa. I showed you the cup, which I've managed to eat some of it because I could tell that stuff is absorbing some kind of perfume or cologne from somebody that's near it or handling it. It's not on the napkins that was she put. The first time she gave me one, it was just on the spoon. That's how good my sense of smell is. I just washed off the spoon and ate it. It was delicious. She managed to bring me one that was made with cherry. That was delicious. Didn't have any, wasn't reeking of perfume. This one was just reeking of perfume from the get-go. But I had to sit there and be polite and nibble away at it a little bit and see if I'm going to die. Actually, at one point, I started getting a foamy, almost like I'm, just got a dose of cyanide or something. So please, you people, really, I would rather smell your armpits and your cracks and your crevices. I would rather smell your body odor, as funky as it is, than to smell your colognes and perfumes. Oh, God. See, I know the whole history. You got to watch the movie Perfume. That's a true beginning of where, so that people could at least shove perfumes in their own noses and not smell all the pig shit and the gut, fish guts, and all the horse shit that laid on all the streets of Paris and London and stuff like that, and also to cover up the smell of the Black Death, the Black Plague, bubonic plague. And this relationship that people have, and all you sensey aroma types and stuff. Oh God, you people, and some, especially scented candles. Oh my God, it's one of the reasons I won't almost hate going into people's homes for fear that they might be at that moment burning a scented candle. And if not when it's burning, certainly when they go to put it out, if they don't do it right, if you don't wet snuff it, if you don't put it out with wetted fingertips, and as you should, then that puff of scented paraffin smoke coming off that candle will give me an asthma attack. And I really haven't had a bad asthma attack in a long time because I'm a fresh air nut. I think I am going to definitely die out of doors. I don't think you're going to be able to get me indoors with people again because of their stupid fucking attachment to all these goddamn scented fragrance shit. It's not, it's one time I was at my sister's, I was having trouble breathing. And I said, I'm going to show you exactly what the problem is. And I went, I took out a pad of paper and I went around her house and I counted 240 scented products in her home. 240 different scented products in her home. Every one of them giving off some sort of a fragrance, and you've got to figure a fraction of them are using potentiators. Please bear in mind that this isn't just about, I have no problem with stuff that's made out of natural, scents that are made out of natural materials, like real lavender oil, real rose oil, real sandalwood stuff doesn't bother me at all. It's when you put them stinking fragrance potentiators in there that you run the risk of giving me chemical pneumonia and or maybe killing me. Oh God, I'm making this in hopes that somebody has some connection to that little old lady and tell her to just please stop. Thank you for, I think it was a $10 bill she gave me folded up or something, but please don't do it again. No more, because wherever you're getting those raspas, every time, it's not every time, okay, there's one exception, the cherry stuff, but it just comes smelling, reeking of perfume. And that just drives my alarm bells right through the roof. Every time somebody gets around me, you may notice that I'm kind of the little bit of time I'll move or shuffle or stuff or ask you to move is to get you downwind from me if you're smelling and reeking of. Thankfully, most of the people I've had contact with the last 3 months here in Pflugerville go very light on the scents, and it's also has been actually since the first few days of May, we've had 15 to 35 mile an hour winds, which means sometimes I don't have to shift my head but a foot to get out of the path of the fragrance that you're spewing everywhere. Oh, geez. Fragrance potentiators. I was assured by an official of the American Lung Association that they are the number one leading cause of asthma in this country, not diesel particulates. That's more like allegedly the ghetto kids that have to live along the paths of the trucks and stuff like that. And that's all political science. But in the real science, it's these nasty potentiators that are almost identical. Some of them are the same potentiators used in pesticides to make them disperse, penetrate, and persist. Oh gosh, one of the blankets I'm sitting on, the guy who so kindly washed it for me, the last thing he did was he sprayed it with a deodorant that he uses all over. That's why I was always having trouble breathing around you, Rudy. Is because instead of like putting on clean pants, you would just spray that purple juice on your pants and stuff after you've been out all night, smoking meth and partying and boozing and shit to cover up the stench of hops, beer, malt liquor, alcohol, and other shit that you'd have on you. You just spray on more crap instead of changing clothes and bathing. It's constant. He sprayed some of that shit, and it was so sinus irritating. I was coughing. It took forever to get that crap out of that blanket, the red blanket that I'm sitting on. It took endless exposure to the elements, rain, washing, etc., to get that crap out. Disperse, penetrate, persist. If you're really a loving person, you're a good Christian and shit, you'll think about it before you go and damaging my breathing, my nose, my lungs, or other people's, especially little kids. It affects little kids a lot. Why do you think little kids have the sniffles all the fucking time? Always running to the doctor. I see them over here at the clinic. Mothers bringing children in over minor shit that there's really nothing the doctors can do for them, because once that shit gets in there and gets stuck in your mucous membranes, it's not coming out. It's really not coming out. It just, you literally, you have to slough off the tissue. You have to hack it up, blow it out your nose. That's how it operates. I'm at about 16 minutes here, but I have trouble. I mean, hard for you people who know me. At heart, I'm a very polite, well-behaved person. I accept things graciously and stuff like that. But I've got to start becoming rude, and especially absolutely now, is you give me any kind of food product and stuff like that, and it better be canned. And everything had better be on the freaking label. I have found foodstuffs now that have no additives. They're not really, and that they're delicious. There's no garlic. There's no nothing. There's no sodium erythorbate. There's no nothing. It's not happening. I have found several food products that I can eat every day, all day long, without getting the shits, having diarrhea. Yeah, and there's really nothing worse than having diarrhea on the streets and having no place to immediately wash up and change clothes. So I hope y'all forgive me, but if I smell the slightest hint, if you're handing me, it's one reason I haven't even touched it. I'm trying to let whatever might be on that bill that she gave me, I'm waiting for it to be, and then even then, I'll take it out of my pocket and then I'll throw it on the ground and let it sit there for a few hours. I don't care if somebody steals it, as long as I don't get chemical pneumonia from handling the motherfucker. So please, do not be giving me any kind of don't be giving me any kind of drinks that are not like Gatorade's okay, factory sealed, shit like that. I can handle, but nothing with any kind of vegetable oil in it. But, don't get around me if you're wearing fragrances or perfumes, or I'm liable to just tell you, fuck you, back off, go the fuck away. I don't care about your money or your food donation or your interest in being with me or talking to me or some shit like that. I don't really care. I just want to continue breathing, okay? That's my primary objective in life, is to get my next breath, and many, many more, million more to come. And please just stop it with the goddamn fragrances and shit like that. They're fucking, oh my God, please, people. I don't know what to tell you other than I don't react to wet ones, tropical splash, whatever, fragrance they're using that. Wipe your fucking hands with that shit, because I know the benzalkonium chloride in that will pretty much destroy any of those chemical potentiators. Pretty sure that it may leave a little residue on your hand, but that residue kills germs. So please, if you know the lady that's been bringing me the raspas, the granitas or whatever and shit like that, tell her to stop. I don't need the money that bad, and I sure as shit don't need the fucking pneumonia. I don't need chemical pneumonia, And if you get close to me and I start, actually from now on, if anybody gets close, I'm going to finish with this at 19 minutes. If you get close to me and I can smell any kind of fragrance coming off you, I'm going to tell you to back the fuck off. I'm about to become super fucking rude with anybody who gets near to me and they're smelling. If I smell anything other than natural body odor, and I can tolerate, trust me, I'm a farm boy. I can tolerate some real stench. But if you come up with some of that Paris whorehouse stench on you, fuck you, go away. You're not going to kill my breathing, my ability to breathe. I'm not tolerating this shit anymore. I'm sick and tired of it. No more fragrance potentiators. No more fucking open food donations and shit like that. Please, I was just trying to be nice to the lady. But now I'm putting it on here in hopes that somebody will get it through to her to stop bringing me that shit. I don't care about that or the money or any of that crap. Just stop. I don't care. I want to breathe. I don't give a fuck about some goddamn, granita on a hot day, some raspa on a hot day. I don't care. I care a lot more about breathing. And I know you say, well, you smoke, motherfucker. If you notice, I don't cough. I smoke primarily to stop the coughing. I learned that as a young person, that the one thing that would stop the endless post-nasal drip of my sinuses reacting to oh God, and it used to be really horrible fragrances back then. Oh my God. brute, shit like that. Bod and axe and menon and shit. Now I'm talking about male, because if I start talking about female shit, I'll be here all day, because they got a bazillion of that crap. And price has nothing to do with the lethality of that stuff. It can be very expensive and still be lethal. Inexpensive, expensive does not matter when it comes to, you know, in men's stuff it does. And the inexpensive men's shit, because they're trying to cover up the smell of a fucking pimp or some shit like that. They want fucking that lethal nuclear grade shit. Keep your fucking stink. Leave it in the fucking shower room. I work pretty hard at keeping myself pretty clean, smelling. And one of the reasons I don't have body odor a lot is because I don't eat spicy foods and I don't drink beer, consume hops. So please, people, I'm going to become rude. Simple as fucking that. If you come up, if you're offensive to me in some way and shit like that, if you're not doing it right, if you're not approaching me like out of respect and respecting my fucking ability to breathe, I respect when you come up. If I'm, I don't light up a cigarette around people unless I've already got their permission or it doesn't bother them. If there's enough windage where I know I'm downwind, I'm trying to be as respectful of other people as possible. And I'm going to demand it from you now, especially those fucking perfumes and those fragrance potentiators and shit like that. Because it happens hundreds of times a day, I have to put up with somebody getting out of a fucking car, and I don't know whether if they just walk past me, that's going to be strong enough to fucking put me in the fucking hospital on oxygen. So, rude time. Rude boy here from now on. That's it. I'm done. I'm finished. If you're not going to consider, my ability to breathe, then fuck you.